man I'm about to bring on, Ryan Cotton. Ryan Cotton is the legendary man with the flag. His face was all over MSNBC and CNN and Fox because he brought with him a Russian flag to the anti-imperialist rally that happened last weekend in Washington, D.C. He's at the center of widespread controversy. The NAFO social media trolls are all after him, but we love him. This is the great Ryan Cotton. Everybody will say hello to Ryan Cotton, the man with the flag. Welcome, Ryan. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, I confess it was me.
It was you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, we're glad to have you. Ryan, first tell us about yourself. I mean, I don't know much about you. I mean, I know you and I know a lot about you, but I guess the audience doesn't, right? Talk about what you do for a living, where you came from, all of that. Just kind of give us the lowdown on who you are.
Yeah, well, my name's Ryan Cotton. I've been working with the Center for Political Innovation for about 2 years now. I'm a pharmacist in my work. That's kind of what led me into studying economics and getting interested in philosophy and Marxism, learning how to care for my patients in a different way, I suppose. But I'm originally from the Midwest, originally from South Dakota.
Wow, South Dakota.
Today I live in Oakland, California.
Very good. Yeah. So what was it like growing up in South Dakota? You know, I've been out there once. I think I went to a Native American reservation there when I was a teenager. What's it like out there?
Well, you know, I can relate to a lot of how you describe Ohio. It's pretty conservative, and growing up around a lot of Christians, and yeah, I mean, it was a struggle for me, I guess, growing up in kind of this liberal world, this postmodern world. It took me a while to actually come around to realizing that it was kind of a blessing, my upbringing.
Yeah. Well, now I'm curious, you mentioned that it was because you're a pharmacist that you got into anti-imperialist politics and studied economics. Tell us about your political journey.
Yeah, well, I got into pharmacy during school. I mean, my mom worked in healthcare growing up, and so I'd always kind of been exposed to the healthcare environment, and I knew I wanted to help people that way. But it wasn't until I got into pharmacy school, and at the time, Bernie Sanders was running for president and talking a lot about universal healthcare. And I was working in a pharmacy at the time, and we deal a lot with insurance. And the number one concern for most patients is, how can I pay for the medication? It's not what is this medication for, or they don't have a question for the pharmacist. Usually it's how much does it cost? And so I kind of went into pharmacy school with that perspective, thinking how can we as pharmacists actually make our drugs and healthcare more accessible and affordable, and that would lead to improved outcomes. I started working in the insurance industry and realized that the ability of the pharmacist and the ability of the actual healthcare team within these organizations is pretty limited, because what really rules at the end of the day is finance capital. And I mean, ultimately that kind of led me into economic and political understandings, and finally kind of ran into class analysis, those ideas from Marx. And that kind of changed the way I thought about healthcare as kind of an institution of the superstructure being influenced by an economic base.
Absolutely.
So I think as a healthcare professional, if we are taught to put the patients first, and I think right now the only way to do that is fighting imperialism, because imperialism is holding back the outcomes of our patients today.
Yeah, right. That's interesting now. You know, a lot of people are mad about how much the drugs they buy behind the counter cost, but very few of them think it has anything to do with the war in Ukraine. But I guess you're there to make that link for me and for the audience. So tell us about the connection.
Well, I would just say one connection I think a lot about is how blinded these prices are. I mean, patients, when they are purchasing medicines, usually they're paying a copay. And so the copay is already kind of subsidized by this system. And to be able to get that nice copay, you have to pay a premium and a deductible to be able to get the insurance. And so there's this whole insurance industry that really is functioning kind of as a middleman and adds this kind of parasitic value that really doesn't reflect any real value in the real world. And so really these drug prices are increasing our rent prices, and it's having an effect kind of all across the board to and I mean these prices are really helping out the 1%, the rentier financial class. It's not helping the rest of the people. And I mean, we're all kind of being squeezed as healthcare is increasingly getting more and more expensive as this healthcare crisis intensifies, or economic crisis intensifies.
Right. So make the connection for us to this war in Ukraine. How is this connected?
I think that as this economic crisis is intensifying, drug prices are going up, and what the ruling class is seeing is that their ability to sustain their profits are being more and more limited. And so what we're seeing is a global political breakdown, and they need to find an outlet for their markets. And right now, China and Russia are kind of the only obstacle in the way of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess, describe why it is that you felt it was necessary to bring a Russian flag to the rally. Describe your point of view on the situation.
Yeah, so I think the whole world is probably watching this rally right now, considering just how high the stakes are. We're on the verge of a thermonuclear World War III. And I think it's really important that we as Americans hold this flag and show that we support the Russian people. We want to be friends with the Russian people. We're not their enemies. And so, here in America, we only hear one side of the story. The censorship here, some say it's worse than the USSR. And so, we're not hearing the other side of the story. Like Rachel Maddow and the mainstream media, they want us to hate Russia. They want us to see the Russian flag as a symbol of hate. They want to ban, censor anything Russian, and uncritically support Ukraine. We're sending $100 billion of our own tax money to fund Zelensky to keep this war going. And so I don't think we should give in to this 1984 style Red Scare. We need to stand up and not turn our backs on the Russian people abroad and at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Not everyone at the rally obviously had your perspective. Do you want to kind of break down the different perspectives that were at the rally and how you kind of related to the rally?
Yeah, the first people when I first showed up at the rally, I was approached by people. They're like, yeah, that's an awesome flag. Another guy with an American flag came right up to me and wanted to take a picture with me. And that was kind of the reactions I got at the rally. So it seemed like the people who were at the rally, the actual masses at the rally, are on board with standing with the Russian people, and they're against the Western aggression that's at the center of this.
Very good. Yeah, and you certainly weren't the only one there. And you were the only person from the Center for Political Innovation that brought the flag. That was your own decision, your own call to make it. But there were a number of people at the rally with Russian flags, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, the way Rachel Maddow kind of portrayed the rally is all these Russian flags, right? But there was only one other Russian flag, or maybe another one. Other one I can remember. So there wasn't a whole bunch of Russian flags. It was just a few. And when I was standing with the Russian flag, it was almost 90% of the time I was right underneath an American flag and a peace flag. And I actually, thinking about it now, if I were to redo this, I would have brought an American flag and had kind of both side by side, I think.
To show friendship. Yeah. Well, you got your American flag right next to you right there. So Absolutely. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess, Do you want to kind of describe some of the conversations you had with people? Because I know you gave a lot of interviews at the rally. You know, there were a lot of media outlets that were talking to you and stuff. Do you want to describe kind of what you broke down for them, what you told them?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's important to understand is kind of the root of this conflict. And I think this is where a lot of people kind of had the wrong reaction to this. So maybe there's three different positions you could have towards this conflict. I mean, you could think that Russia's bad, and that's the position of Rachel Maddow. It's a Russiagate position. That's the position of the liberals and the globalists. And I don't think it takes much courage to have that position.
Of course not. Yeah.
The other position is that both are bad. Russia is bad and the U.S. is bad. And I think this is also kind of a weak position. It's a pacifist kind of position. And I think it lacks a scientific analysis of the history, the geopolitics, and an analysis of imperialism. And it's a non-scientific, it's a liberal analysis, which doesn't get at the root of the problem. The root of the problem is not political. It's not an idea. It doesn't sit in the superstructure. It's in the economic base. And so we're talking about imperialism. And this, what's really important to understand about this conflict, and this is what I told most of those reporters, is that this conflict didn't start 1 year ago. This conflict started 8 years ago, back in 2014, when the United States overthrew the democratically elected leader of Ukraine, Yanukovych. And since then, Ukraine has been a puppet state. It hasn't been a democracy. And they've let their military run rampant, allowed these actual Nazis to climb the ranks of their military and execute all these killings in eastern Ukraine against Russian-speaking people. And it's finally after 8 years of those killings, after pressure from the Russian Communist Party, Putin finally stepped in and said, no more. And so that's why we support Russia and we support what he's doing. And I think Russia is not only defending the sovereignty and independence of the people of Donbass who don't want to be a part of this puppet state anymore. He's also defending the sovereignty of the Russian people who are under the aggression and the threat of an expanding NATO and imperialist aggression from the West.
Yeah, well, we have Gala. She says, thank you, Ryan, for your support of the Russian people and the truth. P.S. The Russian flag doesn't mean you support the invasion war. And that's actually a good point to make, right? I mean, you know, we wave American flags all the time. We obviously don't support the invasion of Iraq or the occupation of Afghanistan or the toppling of Libya. So why is it that they assume that every person who would wave the flag of a country automatically supports its foreign policy? You know, that's an interesting leap, isn't it? We can say that America, the whole essence of America, is not the U.S. wars. So yes, I mean, you and I, we both do support Russia's intervention. But Gala makes a very good point here. Why is it that they've equated anyone waving the flag of a country that's been around for thousands of years, right? With its foreign policy at this time? Isn't that a little bit weird? It does hint that they are trying to destroy Russia. And that's what, when I cover the UN Security Council, Ambassador Ndebenzia keeps pointing out that there are repeatedly statements made from U.S. leaders about balkanizing Russia, dismembering Russia. They want to take this country apart. It wasn't enough to destroy the Soviet Union. Now they want to destroy the Russian Federation. What do you think of that?
I mean, I 100% agree. I mean, it seems crazy that we're in this Red Scare hysteria today. We're holding a Russian flag. You're just attacked and like associated with all these different things. But I 100% agree there. They are after Russia. But even more, this is even more about China and the economic relationship that they have together. And really, it's Russia and China together are building this economic alternative. And who's China's most strategic ally? It's Russia. And so what they're doing, they're building this economic alternative to eradicate hunger and poverty in Russia and China, one based on industrial growth, where they use public credit that reflects real value and real human labor that's invested. and they're trying to do win-win deals with other countries, mutual benefit. And so the Shanghai Cooperative Organization, the Eurasian Economic Union, with BRICS Plus, they're building an alternative. Whereas, and this is why they're a threat. This is why they want to take down Russia.
Yeah, no, it's to defend that same global financial system that's making it so Americans can't afford to buy medicine at the pharmacy. I mean, it's this, capitalism in its monopoly stage, reaching a dead end and becoming destructive and barbaric. I mean, that's what we're seeing. I would argue. But let's get to the facts, though. We all know what really happened, Ryan, is that you and I, we got together and we said, how can we ruin the reputation of the people on the stage? I know, we'll dispatch Ryan to stand next to the stage and hold a flag, and this shall ruin the image of various speakers who don't agree with Ryan, and then we shall destroy the rally. Rachel Maddow was planning to do a positive piece on this rally, but we'll ruin that. She'll see Ryan with the flag, and then she'll know what to say. Is that what happened, Ryan?
No, not at all.
No, I can't get over this. Do people really think that like, oh, if it was all Ryan's fault that Rachel Maddow gave a negative coverage? I mean, that's what people have been saying. I mean, they've been literally trying to say that the negative coverage that Rachel Maddow gave to this rally is somehow the fault of one man with a flag. I really don't buy that. But yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, what do you make of that? What do you make of people saying this?
We didn't even talk about flags at all before this event. This had nothing to do with CPI, really. I mean, this was a public place. This was Washington, D.C., public venue, and I was just there with the flag. I mean, we in California, it's a kind of a rule that we bring the Russian flag to events because we know how important it is. This is just like a regular thing for us. And yeah, I mean, this wasn't planned like for CPI. We weren't planning to we weren't trying to do something sneaky and try to discredit the rally or anything. This was to show the true nature of the conflict. It's economic. It's about breaking down Russia and China, this rising alternative that is an existential threat for the globalists and what they want to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, and people don't seem to know the history. During the Vietnam War, every demonstration against the Vietnam War had a contingent of communists waving the flag of the Vietnamese National Liberation Front. Every single one. Right. And there were even chants. People used to chant, ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, the NLF is going to win. Ho, ho, Ho Chi Minh, the NLF is going to win. Or they would chant, one side's right, one side's wrong, victory to the Viet Cong. One side's right, one side's wrong, victory to the Viet Cong. That happened all the time. And that was considered part of the anti-war movement, is saying that you supported the Vietnamese people in their national liberation struggle. And yeah, there were disagreements. Sure, there were some who felt that maybe they shouldn't be waving such a flag, but there's a long history of this in the anti-war movement. And I mean, the other thing is that, we in the Center for Political Innovation, if you look at the rally we did in Austin, Texas, we had the flag of the Donetsk People's Republic. We had the Z to support Russia's intervention. If you look at the rally we did in Austin, we had the Donetsk People's Republic flag. We had the Chinese flag. We also had the Z. We've been doing this for months. We were listed as an official sponsor. We donated money. We financed the rally and we promoted the rally. We made videos. We did everything we could to promote the rally. I was on here telling people to get your ass to DC, and we did a reception, a very nice reception, where all kinds of people, well over 100, maybe even 160 people, got free food, and we gave a platform to Scott Ritter, and, we were big supporters of this event. So, if they didn't want Russian flags at the rally, maybe they should have invited us to a planning meeting or talked to us beforehand and said, don't do this, and we would have done it. You know what I mean? The last thing we ever wanted to do was piss off the organizers. Maybe since we were official sponsors, they should have invited us on the Zoom calls, had one of our speakers on the main stage. You know what I mean? Elizabeth got to speak at the closing rally, which was very good. Had one of our speakers on the main stage, and we could have all been in the same team about this. You know what I mean? That's what you would do, but if not everyone is included in the conversation, you might get some confusion, and that's what happens when people don't communicate. So, I mean, that's on them. And the other thing that I've often said is, like, if they were mad that you were standing close to the speakers, like, isn't that kind of on them and their security? Like, I mean, I've watched Barack Obama speeches many times, and there's always a big crowd of people behind him with different signs, but I can guarantee you wouldn't have gotten behind him with a Russian flag. If they were so concerned about how they staged the rally, why didn't they take care of it on their own end? Why did they put that on us? That's a little bit odd. But the main thing, though, that I think, and I'm just putting this out there, is that I am convinced that there are troll farms dedicated to getting anti-imperialists to fight with each other. They want the Jackson Hinkle fans fighting with the Haas fans. They want the Haas fans fighting with the Max Blumenthal fans. They want the Max Blumenthal fans to be fighting with the Aaron Mate and Jimmy Dore fans. This is what they want. They want all of us who more or less understand that this war is wrong, understand that anti-imperialism is the answer, understand that woke leftism is pro-imperialist and a cancer. They want us all at each other's throats. And they're really good at finding some little issue, like some guy standing there with a flag. They're really good at finding that and using that and getting all their bots and trolls all over it to manipulate us against each other. You know what I'm saying? They're really good at that. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear that there's a targeted kind of online social media effort. I think that the CIA is like pushing a button, and they're really concerned about optics. So anytime the truth gets out, they're going to push this button and make sure that there's a swarm of bots that are going to push out this like NPC narrative, this very surface level understanding, basically just repeat all the media's lies. And that's what I've seen. If you look at the comments on this flag, it's this NAFO Twitter thing. Like, that's all it is. Like, these aren't original thoughts. They're just regurgitated kind of state comments. And like, people see through this. People see through the truth. And I think it's only a matter of time before this movement continues to grow, and like, we're not going to buy these media lies. People see through. I think people are waking up right now to this Ukraine and the big lie around this, and people are waking up.
Absolutely. And, the other thing, and I have learned this, trust me, over the course of the last year and the course of the 2 years of building the Center for Political Innovation, you never gain anything by surrendering, to the cancel culture mob. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they get mad. You have a Russian flag. Oh, Tori, I'll bring it. Does that help? Oh, I won't bring Russian. Oh, we don't support Putin. We're just against the war. We don't support Putin. Do you ever gain anything by acting that way? No, you never gain anything. You just look weak. When they disinvited Scott Ritter, that didn't make the rally look stronger. That made the rally look weaker, because every anti-imperialist, they call you every name in the book. You're a Nazi, you're a fascist, you're a racist, you're a pedophile, you're a rapist, you're a narcissist, you're a blood drinking Satanist, whatever. I mean, they hit every anti-imperialist with everything. So when they actually gave in to the internet cancel culture crowd, and when they gave in and then disinvited Scott Ritter, that was a huge mistake on their part. And I tweeted out when they did that, I said, expect attacks on other speakers in the coming days. Now that they've set a precedent that all it takes is for there to be an internet campaign against somebody and then they drop them, that was like sending a signal to the CIA and all of them. Oh, if we whip up hysteria about one of the speakers, then they'll go after all of them. And that's just how they operate. So you never want to back down in the face of cancel culture. That's my view. But here we have a comment from Australia. David Fox says, what I found disappointing are those that are supposedly anti-imperialist attacking the Rage Against the War Machine rally. What's wrong with them? What do you think? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. We're trying to build a united front to stop World War III here. And we need to leave these other political issues aside and focus on the primary contradiction, and that's stopping World War III.
Yeah, I think that's the same attitude, and that I mean, this rally that they're doing on March 18th, the Answer Coalition's doing. I think it'd be great if people go to that. I don't like the Answer Coalition, I don't like PSL, but we're not against that rally happening. And the kind of the witch hunt where it was Black Agenda Report and Struggle La Lucha and all these groups were just accusing and Jeff Mackler of UNAC, United National Anti-War Committee, and all this hysteria against the Rage Against the War Machine rally. I mean, it was really ridiculous. And these forces should be happy to see political groups that haven't been involved in protesting the wars finally getting involved, because right now, at this point, the public in America is against these wars, but the anti-war movement is small and isolated. So the sections of the U.S. public that haven't been protesting in Washington, D.C. against these wars, getting more of them to D.C. and getting them to be more vocally anti-imperialist, I think is a great thing. That's what I think. I think it's a great step forward. And, if you don't like the fact that these people are libertarians, or you don't like the fact that these people are Republicans, come to the rally and bond with them about what you do agree about, and then argue with them, for goodness sakes. That's my attitude. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that were at this rally are the exact people we need to build an alliance with. And there's more people out there like this who are anti-war and understand that we can't continue what's going on here. There's a lot of people, and I think this is kind of the beginning of a new movement. I mean, something that kind of started with maybe in the Bernie and the Trump side. I always thought there was something underneath both of those movements that was the same, and I think we're kind of seeing that with this Rage Against the War Machine. And there is something the same. What is the same is the objective communist movement. We understand communism as a movement of the people, and that's going on. It's happening regardless, and the people are rising up against this imperialism, and we're seeing something with Rage Against the War Machine. I think it's going to continue. I'm really excited about it.
I am too. I am very, very excited about it. Also, you were there. You were doing security at our reception. Do you want to comment on the reception with Scott Ritter and the Uhuru movement and all of that? Do you want to comment on that? Anything?
Yeah, I was overwhelmed by how many people we got. It was pretty great to see so many people there to see Scott Ritter and hear a real anti-imperialist message, and that's what we offer at the CPI event. So hoping a lot of people come to the Summit Against Hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be there, correct?
I'll be there. I'm working on a speech right now.
Very good. Very good. I'm looking forward to your speech. You have a great class that you gave at a CPI retreat about the Chinese economic system. Maybe we can pull up the link to that here in the chat. I'll pull up the link to that. Hold on. I'm going to go find the link for that, because that was great. That was a great, class that you gave. I'm going to pull that up. It's on the Center for Political Innovation channel. Let me just pull that up here and drop it in the chat. It's a really good class that you gave. It was kind of a PowerPoint you did on China and their economic system and anti-imperialism. Right. China, Russia, and the New Emerging Economy by Ryan Cotton. Yeah, it's a great presentation. Here, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. But you do great work, Ryan, and we were really glad to have you at the rally. I'm looking forward to your presentation in March. How does it feel to be a famous anti-imperialist now?
I'm trying to be humble. It doesn't matter until we finally win at the end of the day. And so we have a lot of work ahead of us.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, Ryan. We really appreciate having you on. By the way, you're in the chat almost all of these streams. You're class analysis, right? So you're actually quite familiar with all the people in the chat, right? You know who these people are leaving the comments. You know them all very well. You're a regular of our community. So we're really glad to have you here. Thanks for coming on. It was really, really great. Anything else you want to say before you leave?
You can find me on my channel, YouTube at Class Analysis, or Twitter at Medical Momentum.
Yeah. You've got some great videos on your YouTube also about fascism and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I'm working on a new one right now to kind of summarize Michael Hudson's work on super imperialism, and hoping to kind of integrate that into my talk for March as well.
Very, very good. Well, we love your work, Ryan, and we love having you work with us. You're our comrade. We're with you, and we're so glad that you're now at the center of a controversy. The man with the Russian flag, Ryan Cotton. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. All right, that was so great to have Ryan. Have Ryan there on our broadcast. That was a lot of fun. Ryan is a great guy. Go and subscribe to his channel right now. That would be an awesome thing to do. Go and subscribe to Ryan Cotton Class Analysis. He's great. He's really, really great.